Hello, Taylor. Welcome to Deliverable 3 Business Tactics. I hope you're doing well. I keep checking every day to see if you have any questions, but you've been a little quiet. Please reach out to me if you do have any questions. I'll go ahead and discuss Deliverable 3. As soon as I can get my slide to pass, there we go. Okay, today's objectives. Look at the Module 3 content. Focus on Deliverable 3. Highlight the main column in the grading rubric. Introduce you to the 4 scenarios you'll be addressing in Deliverable 3. I'll share some resources and I'll offer some tips for success. Please always go inside our course and read the content. Then come on over and watch this recording. What are we going to do for Deliverable 3? I encourage you to always read this information. Sometimes it provides a lot more information than at other times, but it's always a good idea to know what we have to do. So you see the scenario, but let's focus in on the instructions. We're going to read 4 scenarios. For each scenario, we have to determine the best target market. We'll be addressing each using Microsoft Word. We see the 3 items we'll address. Please remember that you're using APA formatting, which includes headings in your paper. Headings are 3 to 5 words, a line left, bold print. Why do we use headings? It helps the reader follow what you're saying or typing in your paper. Number 1, identify the criteria you used to select the best target market. And while we're going through these 3 points, please remember that we must do this for each of the 4 scenarios. So we'll start with scenario 1, address these 3 points, go to scenario 2, again address these 3 points, go to scenario 3, address the 3 points, and finally scenario 4. Some students have had problems with this assignment in the past. I'm trying to be as clear as possible to help you succeed. Remember, you always have 3 attempts. If you have problems in the first attempt, I encourage you to reach out to me. Ask me questions. Your success is very important to me. Okay, let's continue. We're going to identify the criteria we would use to select the best target market for scenario 1. Then we'll explain why this criteria was selected over other options. Now that item number 2, that's the one that seems to give people a lot of problems. Explain why this criteria was selected over other options. What students have done in the past is they only focused on the criteria they selected. They didn't identify other criteria that they discovered did not work for the scenario. You have to do both sides of the issue. Identify the criteria that was selected, and then also identify criteria that you considered but was not optimum for the given scenario. And point number 3, explain why this is the best target market. I always encourage you to focus in on the perfect score. Yes, we do get 3 attempts, but I'd like to make your life a little bit easier by focusing you on a column, because that's what we want to earn. So criteria 1, Thoroughly identify the criteria you used to select the best target market. Criterion 2 explained all of the criteria that was selected over other options and thoroughly analyzed the selection based on a review of professional literature. So there's a lot of information in criteria 2. We explained all the criteria that was selected over other options. So we considered both sides. You told me things that you would use for this given scenario, as well as things that did not apply to the scenario. And you based all of this information on professional literature. Criteria number 3 thoroughly explained why the best target market was selected for the 4 scenarios. So we know we're going to do this one scenario at a time, but we know we have to explain why the best target market was selected for scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, and scenario 4. Criterion number 4, we're back to APA, but that's all right. Rasmussen University Online Library provides you with an excellent source for mastering APA format. Scenario number 1. You run an in-home daycare in an affluent area of Chicago, Illinois. This is one of my favorite examples. No, I did not choose it, but I really like it because I'm from Chicago. Scenario 2. You are a member of the Google development team and have created a driverless car. Wow. At one time we might have thought that this would never become a reality, but now we know that we do have driverless cars out there. In fact, we even have driverless semi trucks. How do you feel about that? Do you feel safe? If you were driving down the expressway and looked and saw a car with no driver, or saw a semi with no driver, would you feel safe? Scenario number 3. Oh, a perfect dream, right? You have designed a robotic assistant able to perform common household tasks. We have some devices out there that are part of the work, but can you imagine how beautiful our life would be if we had this robot and they would do all of our household chores for us? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Scenario 4. Okay, I do not know how to pronounce the name of this flying car company, but you are a member of the development team and have created an affordable flying car. Oh, that's another dream I've always had, especially during rush hour. Imagine driving down the Dan Ryan Expressway, which is one of the most populated expressways during rush hour. I can remember actually turning my car off because I'd be sitting so long. And while I'm waiting for the traffic to move, I thought, boy, wouldn't it be ideal to just fly right over this? Well, I guess it's becoming a reality. So, what is a target market? Remember, every time you see that popcorn icon, that means this is a video, and I'll be placing the video in the course announcements. I like the way they designed this cover for the video. It says people plus problem plus seeking solution plus money. They have to have money, right? But those are the type of people we're looking for our target market. Of course, we have to add much more to that. But this is a video that helps you start identifying a target market for each of your 4 scenarios. Identify the criteria you used to select the best target market. This is another source I found for you. Inside, you can see the 6 points they're addressing. Look at your current customer base, check out your competition, analyze your product or service, choose specific demographics to target, consider the psychographics of your target, and evaluate your decision. I deliberately took a screen capture of this because if you look, you can see that some of the text is blue. What that means is if you want additional information when you get to this site, you can click on that text because they're actually hyperlinks. They take you to additional information. But I want to focus on the last 3 points, items 4, 5, and 6. I think those would help you complete this assignment. So, number 4, choose specific demographics to target. I provided examples of demographics that you might consider for each of the 4 scenarios. Of course, we're going to use different demographics for different scenarios. This just helps you get an idea of possible things you might consider. Item number 5, consider the psychographics of your target. Examples of psychographics are listed here. Again, think about each scenario one at a time. How do these demographics apply? How do these psychographics apply? How can you choose the best target market for each of the 4 scenarios? Identify items you would consider valuable for helping you identify the target market, and then flip the coin. Look at some criteria that won't help you and explain why. So we want to look at both sides. We want to know what will help us and what will not help us. And we want to know why we think that. Now, here's another one. Now, item number 6. Evaluate your decision. And they give you 6 things to consider. I thought these were all very relevant. Now, it helped you complete this assignment. Are there enough people who fit my criteria? Hmm. Excuse me. Will my target really benefit from my product or service? Will they see a need for it? Item number 3. Do I understand what drives my target to make decisions? We have to really get in touch with people. We have to know what their needs are. What are their wants? How does that compare to our product or service? We have to have this perfect match in order to continue to be successful. Item number 4, can they afford my product or service? Very important. They may want it, but can they afford it? And item number 5, can I reach them with my message? Are they easily accessible? Am I promoting the product in an area where my target market will see it? I can't just put it anywhere. I have to know where my people go, what they read, what they look at in order to be in touch with them. Target market selection segmentation. You ever heard of a SWOT analysis? It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal to the organization. Opportunities and threats are external to the organization, but those opportunities and threats are from the external environment impacting either positively or negatively on your company. Your goal is to capitalize on your strengths and opportunities and minimize your weaknesses and threats. In this article, they talk about 4 basic types of market opportunities. You can see the little image there that present products, new products. I always say present wrong. It's supposed to be present products. and new products, and then coming down present markets, new markets. At the intersection of each of those gives you how you can segment a market. Also, additional information, but focusing on the bottom right corner. 5 criteria that indicate whether you have selected a viable target market. What do we consider? The size, the expected growth, the competitive position, the cost to reach, and the compatibility. Maybe when we're trying to determine if we have selected the best target market for each of our scenarios. Something to think about. Another article, this one's talking about 5 ways to segment a market. Now, while I'm showing these to you, I will be putting links to all these articles in our course announcements. 9 types of target marketing. How are they going to divide it? Customer needs, customer preferences, values, demographics, location, behavior, lifestyle, price sensitivity, competitive targeting. We might use one or more of those types. Mix and match. Get to know each scenario. What are their needs? How are we going to identify the optimum target market for each of the scenarios? I'm assuming our approach will be different for each scenario because we're talking about a different product or service. And there they are. I think these scenarios are kind of interesting. I hope you have fun with these. Remember, and this is the downfall for a lot of people, so I'm really going to focus heavily on this. Explain why the criteria was selected over other options. Show both sides of the issue. What were the criteria you used to select, and which criteria didn't you consider? Explain why this is the best target. How to define your target market from ink. Build a solid foundation for your business. You must first identify your typical customer and tailor your target marketing pitch accordingly. We cannot be everything to everybody. We need to be selective. We need to focus on our target market. Just some more pointers. If you're confused, I encourage you to contact me. I want you to be successful. So the issue to address, explain why some of the criteria was selected over other options. We want to view the items below. Some of the items apply, other items do not apply. Why do some of the criteria apply? Why were they selected over other options? Tip, use 2 or 3 criteria that do apply and 2 or 3 criteria that do not apply. Base your statements on information found in professional sources. So we're going to consider both sides. We're selecting this criterion and we're not selecting other criteria. Why not? And support your decision with the professional literature. I've already talked about this before. It's a good way to review. We could base it on demographics. Choose a couple of these that would help you identify the target market. Consider others that would not. The psychographics, do again the same thing. Choose a couple that will help you with your target market. And then choose another couple that don't match. Why didn't you consider those to help you identify your target market? So we've got some criteria that do apply and other criteria that don't. And we explain why they would or why they would not. Evaluate your decision. Those 6 points, I hope that helps you identify your target market. Think outside of the box. We have to be creative when we're trying to attract new customers. If we stay in the same box, we'll be the same company and we won't grow. So think outside of the box. Use your readings, your videos, engage in web searches and research, and hopefully some of the things that I highlighted in this live classroom will help you be successful. Challenge yourself. Interpret what you're reading, synthesize what you're reading, and engage in higher learning. You've read it, you've paraphrased it. Don't give me a lot of quotes. I want you to read the material. Avoid the quotes. Synthesize your findings. Cite your sources and reference them. So we have citations in the body of the paper and references at the end. Please avoid using quotes. I don't want to read what you've read. I want to read what you have interpreted. Check your work before submitting. We have that wonderful grading group. Be objective when you look at it. Is there anything you could do better? Do you have any questions? If you do, please reach out to me. Remember, we do have this wonderful online resource. The librarian has taken time to put this together for you to help you master APA 7th edition formatting. Oh my, that's like learning a foreign language. I get it. But if you ever hope to go beyond your undergraduate level, you're going to have to. This is the standard. APA 7th edition is the standard. Some subjects use MLA, but the standard is APA 7th edition. Reflect on your APA format. Look at each reference. Think about what should be capitalized, what should be replaced, what should be italicized. Is there any missing information? And don't forget to put headings in your paper. Something you may want to know about retrieval dates. Are we supposed to put the dates inside the reference? Well, you can see on this when we would and when we would not. If you have any questions, please let me know. APAstyle.org is the mother of all. Any APA formatting tips you've seen out there all come back to this source. Why? Because they're the ones who wrote the manual. I encourage you to explore APAstyle.org. It's a wonderful. I pulled this one out because a lot of people like to use web pages. This one just gives you an example of how to format. Starting at the left, move across. Look what's happening. You see the last name, comma, middle initial, period, year, month, the title of the article. Notice something. It's italicized. And where did we find this? We have the URL right here. I hope these examples help, but I also provide additional information in our course announcements, and I strongly encourage you to visit the Rasmussen University Online Library APA section, which will help you immensely. Headings, definite. This is one of the things that I really look for because I want to make sure I read your paper and I give you full credit for all the information you put in your paper. And there we have it, a review of Deliverable 3. I encourage you to always look in a course and read the content. And then I like to focus heavily on Deliverable 3. I mean, this is where your grade's coming from, right? I want you to succeed. We talked about the grading rubric, and I encourage you to only look at the perfect column because that's the grade you're striving. We talked about the 4 different scenarios. Each scenario is unique. We'll address one scenario at a time. I provided you with resources to help you evaluate the target market. And remember, addressing both sides of each target market. What works and what doesn't work. And I offered you some tips for success. I hope this video helps you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. You just don't understand how important you are. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll continue to watch for your questions.